Hey guys, my name is Thibaut, and today is the end, literally right at the end, as it's 11:30 p.m. It is the end of the sixth day already. Yes, it is sixth day of fasting. So just drinking water and no food, and I'm very surprised actually how I have not even felt any hunger. I have not complained. I have not moaned. I have not I still watch lots of YouTube videos of some guy who goes into like restaurants and accepts their like food challenges. You know, I don't know why I'm enjoying watching them. Pizzas, the Rock's diet, the Goldberg's diet. Those wrestlers, and he doesn't eat it all in one. He's fine. Um, but yeah, but I haven't had a huge craving, and I'm quite surprised, very surprised. Because last time though it was just 10 days. It was not like that. I mean, the worried. I was as I was walking back home. I was thinking about it. Like, if in 10 days time from now, I'm still feeling like this. I'm still feeling fine. Uh, you know, I'm not really finding it that challenging. I'm going to question. Oh no! I hope God's not asking me to go for 30 days or 40 days. I mean, that's going to be. But things are going so well. That's the problem. But I think that's a good thing. So there's a couple of things I'd like to mention actually. But first, to follow on from the Lord's Prayer, today was Hallowed be thy name. Now, as I said yesterday, I mentioned John Bevere mentioned how to him it was a major revelation. His name needs to be venerated in our prayers, and then that's a very important part of praying. But I looked at as I was walking to work this morning. I was looking into the lexicons for the word hallowed, and I knew it meant something along those lines: holy, sanctified, right? Which indeed that's what it means. But I kept looking. Basically, I because hallowed is not a word from our modern vocabulary, so it's certainly not in mine. I mean, I don't say to visitors, "Oh, before you sit down, let me hallowed the table." You don't do that. So basically, language I liked, as I would, my interpretation of it is to say, may your name be lifted up. Our Father who art in heaven, hello, may your name, our Father who art in heaven, may your name be lifted up. May your name be sanctified. Holy is your name. That's basically what it means. It's venerating, and technically, if you keep going through the Lord's Prayer, it continues for a few verses, but it will stick to "Hallowed be Thy name." So that was what I thought about today. So maybe in my own personal prayer, I'll add the I'll tweak. I'll change the words from "hallowed" to something within my vocabulary, because honestly, "hallowed," as I've never used it, it's not really me. It's just me following a script. So yeah. But as I was walking to work as well, for some reason, I got thinking about the wise men during Jesus's nativity story. I got thinking about them. What I knew from memory, they came from the East. Now, when people came from the East, when the Bible says people came from the East, it was a this different nation, quite a long distance. So probably India or something. So quite a long travel. So the start of Bethlehem was not just it wasn't there just for just one day. It must have been there for quite a while, so the wise men could follow it because they were intrigued by it. And I wondered. Now I've since then I have checked it out, but I've wondered this morning. I wonder if wise men means magi or something. Magi. I wasn't sure, so just a few minutes ago, I checked the lexicon and should be ready. Typical tib. Okay, the Greek word translated as wise men in the King James translation anyway, and most translations is magos. Are you familiar with Simon Magus? Is it Yes, Simon Magos. You know the magician in the sorcerer in Acts chapter 6 or something. Um, in church history, he was known as Simon Magus, which means my guy. So of course, on the lexicon, the Thayer's definition, it says it recognizes that that's the wise men, astrologers in brackets. Don't know if you can see that. Nope. Nope. Let me change the thing. Probably won't. I'll probably put it on the screen. No. Probably not. Never mind. So G3097 in the lexicon dictionary. So yeah. So are Oriental wise men (brackets astrologers) who, having discovered by the rising of a remarkable star that the Messiah had just been born, came to Jerusalem to worship him. But the first definition, well, that's also interesting. A name given by Babylonians or Chaldeans, Medes, Persians, and others to the wise men, teachers, priests, physicians, astrologers, seers, interpreters, dreams, interpreters of dreams, augurs, I don't know what that is, soothsayers and sorcerers, etc. And then the last definition, it actually says a false prophet and sorcerer. So basically, yeah, false prophets are sorcerers. Back in the day, false prophets, they had power. They had power to do miracles as well, counterfeit miracles, of course. But they had power. It wasn't just preaching. It was just preaching a counterfeit message like Muhammad or something. They actually had some kind of satanic power. Not to say that Muhammad was not inspired by him, but as far as I know, he did not do any miracles. So I was right. The wise men were involved in sorcery. Now, a while ago, something I like to do is read writings of the early church fathers, and I haven't dug up the source yet because I kind of just got home not long ago. And maybe in future, if you're interested, probably Jerome or something. But one of these early centuries Christian writings. Ooh, maybe it's the Papyrus. It may be a fragment of Papyrus. I'm not sure. I'll find it one day. Okay. Well, based on that, and that's a source from the early church fathers. So I'm referring to writings from the first, second, third centuries, when the church was very much in its infancy. So they would have more of an insight regarding various characters and stories, because for them it was recent history. For us, the gospel is quite 2,000 years ago, you know. Um, so yeah, but what I read is that when the star of Bethlehem appeared, the powers of Satan were totally bounded. It was stopped. So the sorcerers, they can do their sorceries. The witches, the witchcraft, sorcerers, wizards, they can do their spells. They can do any of that. Their powers was totally stopped. They can do any of it. So I wonder, that is why those wise men or magi's knew that there was something more powerful than the spirits they were using to make those spells, those whatever they were doing, the sorcery thingamajig. When the star of Bethlehem appeared, suddenly the powers were gone. That's what I read, and that's really interesting because it comes to show, well, obviously we should know that already, but it's another witness that the power of God is far more powerful than the power of Satan or the demonic spirits, because there are counterfeits. I mean, Moses, for example. I know a lot of Christians, they believe that works of power of God and Holy Spirit and even counterfeits they've done away with, like cessationist Christians that follow Paul MacArthur, whatever his name is, John MacArthur. They don't believe in that stuff. A lot of their teachings is good, but in terms of miracle spirituality stuff, they're quite, they compromise in that area. But indeed, those things are still for today. It's just that we become very skeptical because we are much more materialistic than our previous generations, and even a lot of Christians have become more materialistic. So where was I going with this? Yeah, so do you remember before the Exodus, Moses said to the Pharaoh, let my people go. And Moses showed him, he threw his rod, his staff, and it turned into a snake. So that would be a sign for the Pharaoh, let my people go. Look what I can do. That was, of course, using the power of God. But then, of course, the Pharaoh asked his magician, his soothsayers, his whatever, and they did exactly the same thing. They threw their staff on the floor, and it turned into a snake. The only difference is the snake of Moses ended up eating up all the other or smaller snakes, presumably, of the Magi's, because God's power, God's God is more powerful than that of Satan or the devil or whatever the spirits, the Magi's or magicians were using to have those powers. And the thing is, we are so, look at things like Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, Australia's Got Talent, when magicians appear. Now, I get it. Some clever people, they may be able to do illusions, but we are actually encouraged, we are forced, based on this materialistic mindset paradigm. We see something we cannot get, we cannot grasp. It's impossible. To put something in your hand and disappears. Like without you seeing any tricks. It's impossible. But yet we can't say, oh wow, he must be a talented illusionist. So talented because it's not. If you have a carnal mindset, we won't get that. We just can't get it. But the truth is, I mean, if you look honestly to a lot of the magic shows that happens on those shows, and even others like I can't remember the names. Chris Angel. Never mind. It's real. It's real, and most of them they won't say it's real because that's not what it won't work. Or I've seen a few which would say it's a spirit. Oh, I speak to this spirit or my spirit guide. To say he does this and that, blah blah blah. That's how I can do my powers. But then people assume that's just a gimmick. That's just a gimmick. It's just a persona. It's part of his show. But it isn't. It's very real. It does exist. Um, and when false prophets come again, they won't be just preachers of preaching false gospel. They have some kind of authority or power from the devil to create signs and wonders, and that's what I think made the Magi's, also translated as wise men, in the nativity story, follow the star of Bethlehem, because suddenly when it appeared, their powers were gone. They couldn't do what they were used to do. Their wizard, whatever they were doing, it was put to hold. And they wondered, you know, it just so happens, it must be, could it be a coincidence that that star that we never seen before appears, and then suddenly none of us can use our powers that we are so used to using? Maybe. I appreciate that the whole powers of Satan being bounded or frozen for temporarily is not in the Bible. The Bible does not tell us that, but that's what the early church fathers have said. Even I believe it is Papias. Papias was a disciple of John, or hero of John, because John made disciples. So did Peter, so did Paul. He had disciples. So the next generation. So he's basically a second generation disciple of Christ. Yeah, I think of it like that. John being a first generation disciple of Christ, therefore his disciple Papias was a second generation of Christ, and because they were so close, far closer than we are, they're worth listening to, or at least take it, or considering what they're saying, because they knew things and understood things that we don't today. Because the church is quite lukewarm compared to what it used to be a long time ago. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Tomorrow, well, it's almost midnight, so it's almost the beginning of the seventh day. Until next time, I love you and God bless.